Good morning, Mr. Issa Amro. On behalf of the Cambridge Journal for Law, Politics and Art, we would like to thank you for your time today to provide valuable insight on your experience as one of Palestine's most highly prominent activists, despite facing various challenges with authorities named as Human Rights Defender of the Year by the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights and the European Union. Your work has made a real meaningful impact to this decades-long Israel-Palestine situation, and we look forward to learning all about it in order for the wider community to also make a further difference and put an end to the ongoing violations. And we would like to begin by asking how your early years, such as your childhood or your teenage years in Hebron, inspired you to choose this activist path.
To contribute, and thank you very much for interviewing me. And I hope that this interview will enrich the people awareness and knowledge about the real situation on the ground. I am a Palestinian who was born in Hebron city. I was born very close to an Israeli illegal settlement in the old city of Hebron. I suffered from the presence of the settlers. I suffered from the presence of the Israeli soldiers. And the main milestone in my memory was the Ibrahimi Mosque massacre, which happened in 1994 when Baruch Goldstein, an Israeli retired doctor from the army, broke into the Ibrahimi Mosque, and he killed 29 Palestinian worshippers in the early morning praying. That was the main shock for me, to see how someone, just kill people who are innocent in the mosque. And the result of the massacre affected me. I didn't go to my school for 4 months. It was really not easy for me as a child that time. We lost one student who was playing football with us every morning in the school and afternoon. And the streets were closed, segregated, shops were closed. So we were the victims of the Ibrahimi Mosque massacre, and we were punished because of the Israeli military oppression, because we are weak and they are the main power. But I went over that, and I went to high school. I graduated from high school and I went into university to study engineering. And my dream was to become an engineering professor. And I was doing very well in school and in university, to have a great achievement to fulfill my dream as to become a professor. Unfortunately, in the last year of my degree, bachelor degree, the Israeli military closed my university. I went to the university in the morning. I found the campus sealed. The doors were welded by the Israeli military, and they put a paper saying that the university is closed for good, without giving any explanation. And me, I became very disappointed, very angry, and I wanted to do anything to get my degree. So it was for me about education, not about occupation. So I went home, broken, disappointed, very angry, and I searched on Yahoo. Yahoo was the main Yahoo search engine that time, how to make a revolution. I wanted to make a revolution. Luckily, what came first to me was Martin Luther King, the civil rights movement in the United States, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, anti-apartheid movement in South Africa. I studied these non-violence campaigns, and I started a campaign with other students to reopen the university to get our degree. It was about education, because Palestinians in daily basis all over Palestine fight to get to their schools, fight to get to their universities, because we believe that education will empower us to make us stronger, to resist the Israeli occupation and be able to keep our identity and keep our steadfastness as Palestinians who are living under Israeli military apartheid and oppression. And from that time, I graduated from the university as an engineer and as an activist. And from there, I, started campaigning, creating nonviolence uh, committees, organizations, movements, to the point what I am doing now.
We are happy to hear that through your passion, you wanted to emphasize this importance for education. We wanted to know, so you have lived in Palestine all your life and your work is in the heart of occupied city of Hebron. How would you say the situation changed since you started your career?
I started my activism 20 years ago, and by time it's getting much worse. There is a war in our right as Palestinians. We live under Israeli military law without any basic rights. Imagine that non-violence resistance, according to the Israeli military law, is not allowed and it's illegal. And me personally, I was indicted, I was convicted in the military court, arrested for practicing non-violence resistance. By the Israeli military law, we are guilty until we are proven innocent. It's the opposite of the civilian law. So me personally, whenever I am arrested, I need evidence to prove that I'm saying the truth. They don't need to show anything against me. I need to show, to the judge, to the court that I'm innocent. This is really not easy. So, it's not easy to live for 20 years as an activist to see more checkpoints, more restrictions, advanced technology to control Palestinians and track them and spy on them and violate our privacy and to intimidate us. So we really I feel it and I say it, that every day we face more and more challenges. And the policy is they don't evict you directly from your house, but they make it impossible for you to stay and remain in your house. So how they make it impossible for you to stay and remain in your house? You don't feel safe. I don't feel safe in my house now. They may come, attack me, shoot me, arrest me, throw stones at me, break into my house, the settlers, the soldiers, and I don't have any protection first. So I am afraid about my safety. I'm afraid about my neighbors, about my friends. You are all the time you live in fear. Second, there is no services, electrician, plumber, ambulance. Imagine that if I need an ambulance now, I need, coordination for the ambulance to come in. So you skip the emergency cases, doctors, there is no services at all. You carry the furniture, you carry the food from the checkpoint. Then the third one is that there is no social life. Part of our culture is the social life. How is there is no social life? Public events are not allowed. But visitors from outside the area, they are not allowed. So we have 22 checkpoints in less than 1 kilometer square, and the soldiers decide who gets into the area. Imagine that the soldiers decide if you can get friends in the house or not. The soldiers can decide if you will have a birthday party or not. So there is no social life, there is no services, and there is no safety. This is the situation. It's getting much worse. It's more restrictions. It's more blue and white, I call it. They are building more and more settlements. They are closing more and more streets. They are closing the markets. They are working to really displace the Palestinians, to make them, lose their homes, and they make them not think about freedom. So they make us busy struggling for basic rights. So we don't call for freedom. We don't ask for equality. We don't ask for justice. Freedom is a dream for us. Justice is a dream for us. Equality is a dream for us. But we don't have all of that.
Before we get into all of what you said, I was interested in hearing that you said that the Israeli authorities they track Palestinians. So I haven't heard of this before. So how does that work? Do they just track where they're going, or what kind of technology do they use?
The whole world is using artificial intelligence to make the life of the human being easier. But in Israel, the Israeli occupation is using the artificial intelligence and advanced CCTV cameras with face recognition, with eyes recognition, with body recognition to track Palestinians, to spy on Palestinians. I have no privacy. They know everything about my life. This interview, it's recorded by the Israeli authorities. Me talking to my friends is recorded. So they track us on social media. They track us on our daily life. They know who gets into my house, who comes to visit me. They know what's going on. They know everywhere I go, and they profile me on their computers. All my history of activism, all my personal status, my personal needs. They know it in their profile without my consent. I can't say no. I can't say no that don't do this research on me. They use two types of technologies now. One, it's called Blue Wolf. Blue Wolf, it's a mobile app. Israeli soldiers, they come to you with the phone and they take, they take photo of your face. Then they know everything about you. Imagine that 19, 20, 21 years old soldier with his ideology, and the military system gave them a huge space to act according to their ideology. They come to you and know that you are a human rights defender and you are against the occupation, even peacefully. This happened to me this year a few times, and I was detained, ill-treated by the Israeli soldiers because they acted with me according to their ideology. Not only that, this app are with the settlers as well, because there is no difference between the Israeli settlers and the Israeli soldiers who will say no to give this application to the Israeli settlers as well. And the other application is the red wolf. Imagine that it's wolf, blue and red. And the red wolf, the Israeli military installed CCTV cameras everywhere. In my house, from this direction, there is 3 CCTV cameras. In the other side, there is another 2 down with my neighbors. So the families feel monitored inside their homes. The women in the society, whenever they are in their homes, because it's a conservative culture, they don't want anybody to see, any stranger to see their hair, their body. They close the curtains when they are in their homes. Even some women told me, Issa, can these cameras see us inside our bedrooms? That fear, that intimidation. So they use this technology, the red wolf. The red wolf, it's about CCTV cameras with computers to track Palestinians. But something very important, these cameras are not used to track Israeli settler violence. So whenever the Israeli settlers attack us, attack our houses, these cameras they don't use their footage to prove that settlers attack Palestinians. It's only against Palestinians, and we don't know what they do it. Maybe they do medical research, maybe they do, any kind of other technology research in our bodies, in our, behavior, and they sell these data to big companies. There is a smart shooter at the main checkpoint, smart shooter, and it's a private company from Tel Aviv. They came to install this security smart shooter in Hebron, in a staffed checkpoint, first to intimidate me, then to use us as simulation object. They do simulation on us for their technology. So they are misusing the artificial intelligence. They are misusing the technology against the Palestinians and against our rights of privacy and against our rights of living equally without fear.
It's truly surprising to see that they even violate the basic right of privacy, and that to see Palestinians live in this state of paranoia. I wanted to know, with regards to the settlement, so how does that work over time? Like, is it that you feel like there's less and less space now for Palestinians, or how does the process work with regards to the expanding illegal settlements?
Unfortunately, Israel is building more and more settlements every day, and they are building infrastructure for these settlements all over the West Bank and East Jerusalem and Hebron, bypass roads, industrial zones, agricultural zones. And they, on one hand, they fight the Palestinian presence by no water, no electricity, and the policy of they don't evict you directly, but make it impossible for you to stay. And the other hand, they encourage Israeli settlers to build commercial centers, educational centers, universities, bypass roads, and infrastructure to annex West Bank to Israel without the Palestinians. They want to annex only the land without us, and they really work, to make us go. And Israeli high officials, they say that we should remove that city, we should remove and burn that community. And there are many communities now in Area C are facing eviction, are facing, lack of water. Israeli army last week poured cement in water wells to not allow Palestinians to drink water. Imagine in some areas, not to do agriculture, because they don't want us to have any infrastructure for basic rights in certain areas. This is happening in H2 in Hebron, in East Jerusalem, and in Area C in general in Palestine, to displace the Palestinians. And the overturning of the Israeli judicial system, it's a kind of a tool to to legitimate and to get a legal approval for everything they do against the Palestinians, because we are the weakest part in this situation. And it's not easy at all. We are fighting for our existence. We are fighting for basic rights. We are not talking about more than basic rights these days, but we basic rights, we don't get it, and our existence is in danger as Palestinians. Hundreds of new settlements every month, thousands this year. It's the maximum since very long time. Settler violence, it's the worst since maybe 20 years, and without any accountability. Something very important about settler violence: they attack you, they steal your property, they attack your house, they attack you physically without any kind of accountability. With full impunity, there is organized pogroms against Palestinians by Israeli settlers militia, and they are getting more guns, more weapons now from the Israeli current government. I see settlers in my, in the neighborhood here, they never had guns because they are criminals, and according to Israeli regulation. These days, they have M16s, they have, really, machine guns, automatic machine guns or semi-automatic machine guns. That's an indicator that we are facing very dark future, and maybe we are facing massacres in certain areas to force the Palestinians to leave and to take over their land. I can say that what happened 75 years ago of Palestinian Nakba, it's going to be repeated if we don't stop this current extremists who are now the government in Israel. What the Israeli army can't do legally, the Israeli settlers militia do it by themselves, with the protection and escort from the Israeli military, with a protection and backup from the Israeli government and Israeli media. I was attacked last February by an Israeli soldier when I was walking with the American famous writer, and I was attacked. It was very obvious video that I was attacked. I was the victim of that soldier. First, the Israeli military accused me of being in an illegal area. The Israeli army spokesperson said that I am the problem. Then the Israeli media accused me of being a provocateur, and I deserve what happened to me. Israeli politicians, the Israeli National Security Minister tweeted that I deserve what happened to me, and the soldier should be backed up. And then the Israeli government did nothing to make this soldier accountable, and the Israeli public treated the soldier as a hero. This is a small example of the atmosphere of Israeli soldiers' violence and the Israeli settler violence.
It's truly unbelievable to see the type of propaganda that's being surrounded, and the type of support for these unbelievable violations happening. Wanted to know, with regards to other activists also in Hebron, is this normal for them to be attacked by or harassed by the authorities?
I am not extraordinary human rights defender. I'm a Palestinian, and the majority of Palestinians face harassment, ill treatment from the Israeli military and from the Israeli government and from the Israeli occupation and Israeli sector. So it's a phenomena using that much oppression on Palestinian women, Palestinian children, and Palestinian human beings. This is a phenomena. If you are a human rights defender or a journalist, you are more targeted because they want to shut off the voices who are trying to expose the Israeli oppression, the Israeli occupation, the Israeli apartheid. So we became a target to shut off our voices. I was attacked many times physically, arrested, ill-treated, smeared, and not only me, many other Palestinian human rights defenders as well were arrested, detained, ill-treated. Shireen Abu Akleh was assassinated. She's a Palestinian famous journalist. She was assassinated by the Israeli military. She was shot, killed, and the killing was confirmed by the Israeli army without any accountability who killed her. So it's a phenomena to target journalists, to target human rights defenders, to not let us tell you what's going on the ground. Mainly what's happening to me as Issa, because I tell the truth, because I document the truth, because I give first-hand testimony for the international community about what Israel is doing. When we say Israel is not defending itself, Israel is defending its occupation and its apartheid and its settlements. When we say that Israel is not democracy, because I live under the Israeli military law without any basic rights, and the Israeli settlers who live just, I have a fence between the settlement and my house here. I live under the Israeli civilian law. So when we have two sets of law for different people, we say it's apartheid, it's not democracy. Israel, it's democracy for its own people. I don't choose or vote for the authorities who are controlling me. Israel doesn't want that. Israel wants to play the Western country, which respects human rights, which respects, democracy, which is not truth. It's fake. It's so obvious that it's fake when I say my story as a Palestinian human rights defender who believe in nonviolence resistance as the best method to get our rights. So it's not about violence. It's not about security. It's about our rights as Palestinians who are calling for freedom and justice and equality. They don't want that. They are not ready to give us rights. They don't want us to be equal with them. They don't want us to, to make them accountable for their violation of the international law and for their violation of our basic rights.
It's almost as if Palestinians and Israelis live in completely two different countries, even though they are quite literally on the same piece of land. And it is important that viewers and readers are informed about the inhumane and illegal violence being committed by the Israeli authorities. Can you please share some details of how Palestinians are attacked, tortured, and killed specifically by those authorities?
If you are, passing a checkpoint or in a certain area, you might be shot, killed. You might be arrested. I was arrested many times without any anything. They can detain me between 4 days to 8 days in a military detention center without seeing a judge. And it happened to me many times, and it happens to any Palestinian. There is now 1,000 Palestinian prisoners in administrative detention. Administrative detention, you are in jail, you don't know why. Your lawyer doesn't know why. The judge sometimes doesn't know why. Imagine that there is 1,000 Palestinians, among them children and women, are in administrative detention without trial. That's against the international law. They may beat you up, they may intimidate you, they may close the street, they can make your day really hard and impossible. They close the streets, they close the cities, they do collective punishment, they may beat you up. So it's really, really, really not easy. Something else very important, we feel the supremacy of the Israeli soldiers on us when they treat us They dehumanize us at the checkpoints. They really, treat us less than they treat animals. They are seeing us as suspects. They treat us as terrorists all the time, in spite that we are all civilians. And the soldiers are the terrorists, and the soldiers are the ones who are violating the international law, and they are the violence machine. They are the main source of violence, and they are acting with supremacy against us, and they don't treat us as humans. This is the worst feeling for me, that they dehumanize me. Imagine at the checkpoint, there is the security advanced artificial intelligence layer, and there is another human layer to provoke you, to dehumanize you, to really intimidate you. In winter, they force you to take off your shoes with a muddy floor. They force you to wait. They close the checkpoint when it's very sunny. They do anything to you. They say bad things to you. They harass the women when they pass the checkpoint without any accountability and without any kind of mechanism to complain, or even to make people aware. This is what's happening on us. It's not reported in mainstream media, and the social media these days, our content is so restricted. So we escaped from the mainstream biased media to the social media. They followed us to the companies, to the social companies, to restrict our content. Imagine that I posted Shireen Abu Akleh photo on social media. My account was restricted. Imagine that Shireen Abu Akleh is American Christian, very famous journalist, assassinated by the Israeli military, and almost everybody on earth showed sympathy with what happened to her. Social media deleted my post and restricted my account for posting her photo, because she was my friend. So this is the life we live under as Palestinians.
The international community is beyond disheartened with the attack on the Jenin refugee camp last month. Do you have any comments on the situation and how Palestinian refugees are affected by such attacks?
When the international community talks about Jenin, they forgot that those camps were created 75 years ago, that those people who are living there, they were evicted from their cities, from their communities, and from their properties, and they're refugees. They are refugees, and they are the victims of Israel. They are the victims of the international community double standards treating them. How come for that long, 70 years ago, those people are not able to go back to few kilometers back to their homes and to their villages and to their land? And since 75 years, these camps, they live in a very bad conditions. They don't have good roads. They don't have sewage systems. They don't have enough water. They don't have enough electricity. It's so tense to live there. The density is so high. It's house to house. And they spend all their money to build this small house and to live with basic rights. Then the Israeli bulldozers, the Israeli advanced army goes in, destroys everything, kills everybody almost who faces them. I saw people in Jenin, a Palestinian who was just running. He got a bullet on the neck, and he was killed without any. A woman was filming, a girl even. She was filming Israeli soldiers' raid to her camp. She was killed as well. So this kind of treatment to those refugees, it's a kind of showing that the international community is not fair, and they are not treating Palestinians as equal human beings, and they're not making Israel accountable for its violence, for its occupation, for its apartheid, and for its eviction of the Palestinians 75 years ago. So we say the Palestinian Nakba is continuous. Yeah, it's being repeated every day, every month, and the Palestinian rights being violated since 75 years old. And it's not easy to describe the situation in the camp. You are a refugee, and they are working to make you a refugee again. It's not at all acceptable to those refugees to be targeted by the same offenders who made them refugees at the same time, and the international community blame them for what is happening to them.
Moving to your organization, Youth Against Settlement, it works to strengthen the community of Hebron against the illegal expansion of settlements and to document the illegal human rights violations. We wanted to know what are some memorable achievements of your organization and other organizations you are involved in, such as International Solidarity Movement, Arab Nonviolence Network, and Hebron Defenders, and also what are the challenges faced by such organizations?
The center was raided many times by Israeli soldiers, and they confiscated all our belongings few times. The Israeli settlers attacked our center and they destroyed the many things, and the water pipes, the fences. They stole our CCTV cameras. We are under a continuous pressure. We do five main things. We first do direct actions, protest rallies, to increase awareness about what is going on. We do documentation of the human rights violation, and we train families to document using video cameras what's going on and to protect themselves by using smartphones as well. We do legal work. We do a lot of campaigns, as Open Show the Street campaign. We do olive harvest campaign. We try to do active existence, as a kind of resistance. So bring back the families to the community. We do tours, we do advocacy. We do try to give the feeling of the Palestinians that they are safe by making patrol on the streets, to walk the children to the school, to train the women to speak English, to speak Hebrew, leadership training, storytelling, to really empower the community and say no to the occupation. And something else very important, to have our narrative alive, to protect our identity, to protect the identity of the Palestinians. It's free Palestine. The Palestinian flag is everywhere here in the middle of an area which is targeted by the Israeli occupation. So we don't say that we are only victims, but we are fighters using non-violent resistance to make the occupation costly. And this is my message to everybody. Make fighting the occupation part of your daily routine. Think and be creative how to make the occupation costly. Do media, do economy, and something else very important. Palestinians are, like this, lower than the Israelis because of the military systems, but by the international community, and work to level up Palestinians by to support education, to support the sport, to support the Palestinian social life. Level up Palestinians. This is something very important. Level up Palestinian voices. Raise Palestinian voices. Boost Palestinian voices. Boost Palestinian culture, education, sports, economy. This is something very important to do, as well as make Israel accountable for its occupation and apartheid, and really tell the truth to everybody. And I want the international community and the international people to act according to their principles, according to their morals. This is something very important, because it's about equality, it's about justice, Shah. It's about freedom. How come we can live as slaves in our own communities without basic rights? Do the international people accept to live as slaves in their own land, in their own homes, without security, without social life, and without any kind of services? We are not asking much. We are asking for full equality and justice and freedom as Palestinians, and we practice non-violent resistance on the ground to act. And we have many achievements. The house I live in was a military base, and I took the soldiers out of it. We established a kindergarten. We established a women's center. We are establishing now a cinema, public spaces, to show that the land is Palestinian, and to prove it. It is Palestinians, but we want to really affirm it, and to stand still strong in front of the soldiers and the settlers without fear and without any any kind of giving up, because we don't want to give up our rights, and no way to become refugees again. This is what we tell the families. We back them up, we stay with them, we support them, and we will continue in spite of the challenges we face. The challenges, violence, attacks, smear campaigns, they smear us a lot. They create a lot of rumors, false rumors about us, fake rumors, fake news, propaganda. They attack our social media, our our donors. We struggle for donations, to survive as activists, and we do our best to fundraise, but it's not easy. It's almost impossible with their attacks and with their restrictions on us.
Really commend your efforts through your organization, and in addition to bringing awareness to the violations, you empower the community and foster a mindset of resilience and life despite all of the occupation. So this is truly inspiring work, and we are aware that Open Shahada Street project is a big project, part of the Youth Against Settlement. I wanted to know more about this, and what does Shahada Street mean for the Palestinians, and why is it so significant?
Shahada Street, it's the main street in Hebron, as Oxford Street and Times Square in the US. It's the main street, the historical area, the mosques, the markets, the cemetery. So it's really the main street of the city. It's Hebron. So we chose the campaign, Open Shahada Street campaign, to increase the awareness about how come we are segregated in our own streets. How come I'm not allowed to walk in my own street because of the Ibrahim Mosque massacre in 1994? So how come we became the victims, of the Israeli, terrorists who went into the mosque and killed 29 Palestinians, and we were punished even if we were the victims. So opening Shahada Street campaign means no to the occupation, no to the Israeli apartheid, no to the Israeli segregation, and Palestinians are making awareness, fighting peacefully, resisting peacefully, commemorating the Palestinian massacres, and that we will not forget, we will not forgive until we get our rights, until we make Israel accountable for its occupation and apartheid according to international standards. It's a symbolic campaign to inform the international community about who are the Palestinians. This is something very important. I want them to understand that we are human beings. We have our own characters, we have our own education, we have our own culture, we have our own habits. We play, we dance, we practice this, that, we read, we write. So we are humans. This is part of what we do to show the human side of people, and that Palestinians are, as every nation, we as a nation, we want to be treated as a nation. We don't want to be treated as animals who are seeking shelters. We are a nation who wants to freedom and wants justice as everybody else on the world.
It's very important that the community connects with the Palestinian people as human beings, and to see them as humans with their own values and personalities and characters, as you said. I wanted to touch on the point you said earlier about the administrative detention, and you said that sometimes the soldiers, your lawyer, the judge doesn't even know why this person is in detention. So in that case, what happens to these people in detention? How long are they kept for, and what is the procedure or challenges in this procedure?
They come to your house, they arrest you, they tell you are in administrative detention. That's the end. You will be in jail until they decide when you leave. 4 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 10 years. This is administrative detention. You go to court, the judge doesn't open the file. There is no trial. Your lawyer doesn't know why. You even yourself, you don't know why. Many people say, what we did, what happened. This is the reality. That Israeli intelligence decide how long you stay. And something else very important, Shahad, your family doesn't know the end. Your family doesn't know what you did. Your family maybe is waiting you. This is important.
And with regards to children, what are the prison conditions like for children and other Palestinians? So what happens to them while they're in prison, from your experience or what you know of other people?
The worst experience for me to be arrested was to be arrested with children. One time I was arrested and I found children in the detention center being harassed, intimidated, even handcuffed, blindfolded, without water, without going to the restroom. They were crying. They were 11, 10, 12 years old children. My heart was broken. How they treated them, how they made them confess of throwing stones in spite that they didn't. How they don't give them their legal rights as children, how they intimidate them, how they try to destroy their dignity. The children are a target for the Israeli military. They try to, make people afraid about their children. They target the community by targeting the children. Imagine my child 2 weeks ago was detained at the checkpoint to target me. My neighbor's children were arrested because the soldiers said to them, "You are Issa's sons," to to intimidate me and target me as a human rights defender. When I went to the soldier, I told them, "They are not my children; they are my neighbors." But they were kept 2 hours detained and beaten by the Israeli soldiers.
It's all very valuable information to know, and it's important that the wider community is aware. But before bringing the interview to an end, we wanted to ask, what do you think the international community or other countries can do in order to place further pressure to bring Israeli authorities accountable for their violations?
I want the international community to see the Palestinians as a nation who deserve full equal rights, not to try to give us shelters. We don't want shelters. We want to be treated as a nation, as every nation on earth. This is something very important, and to see Palestinians as human. On the other hand, to do everything possible to make the Israeli occupation and apartheid costly, to use their media, to use their parliaments, to not allow Israeli settlement products to enter, to really increase awareness, to give Palestinians space to reach out, to support Palestinians economically, politically in the UN, to make Israel accountable according to the International Criminal Court, to use all the international mechanisms to make Israel accountable. And without making the occupation costly, nothing will change. Without doing concrete actions, nothing will change. And I want them to understand the Palestinian need of freedom, justice, and equality, and to level up Palestinians by supporting them, supporting their economy, supporting their education, supporting their voices, and really to make friendship with Palestinians and be more engaged with pro-Palestinian organizations, pro-Palestinian groups, and not to be trapped of the fake anti-Semitism accusation, because Israel is politicizing anti-Semitism as a term. We Palestinians are against all kinds of racism, all kinds of hate speech, among them anti-Semitism is not part of our cause. No way. And Islamophobia or any other homophobia, it's not part of our cause. We Palestinians believe that all human beings are equal and deserve full equal rights as they want. This is what we want, and not afraid of any accusation, because we are acting for our rights and for everybody's rights. So we want the international community to do PhD theses, to do any kind of actions and activities which will increase awareness and which will make Israel feel that it's not welcome with its apartheid and occupation in the international community.
Definitely. As you said, it's very important for the wider community to bring awareness and hear the voices of the Palestinian people and use all the international mechanisms available and work with the organizations. So, Mr. Amro, thank you very much for your time today. And it has been an absolute pleasure speaking with you today. And we thank you once again for allowing us to obtain valuable insights from the brave work that you and your organization do. And we wish you all the best with your endeavors to create a better future for your people. And we hope to see that the occupation comes to an end at some point.
Yes, I agree. The occupation will end. I'm very optimistic, and we are almost there, but we need to work harder to push it to the end.